as we honor our heroes. During this time together, we will recognize our service members. We will remember their achievements, sacrifices, braveness, and commitment to protecting our country. Veterans, I would like to be first this morning to thank you for your service. We now ask that you please rise for the presentation of colors by the Starter County Honor Guard and remain standing for our national anthem by VHS Choir and our Pledge of Allegiance by BMS Student Council President Lauren Upchurch. Please join me in the saying of our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now, our high school choir, under the direction of Mr. Hayden Cole, will sing Festival Song by Dave and Jean Perry.
Joyful voices sing to the sky, they bring troubles
to introduce our guest speaker, Major Kevin Green. Major Green graduated from Bloomfield High School in 1989, enlisted in the U.S. Air Force in 1991, and served as a security policeman. His duty assignments included Anderson Air Force Base, Guam, Vance Air Force Base, Oklahoma, F.E. Warren Air Force Base, Wyoming, Langley Air Force Base, Virginia, Little Rock Air Force Base, Arkansas, Andrews Air Force Base, Maryland, and Yokota Air Force Base, Tokyo, Japan. He deployed in support of Operations Vigilant Warrior, Sea Signal, Joint Endeavor, Iraqi Freedom, and Enduring Freedom. In 1998, Major Green was selected for the Reserve Officers Training Corps Commissioning Program and was commissioned in 2000 as a Logistics Readiness Officer. Major Green graduated from Southeast Missouri State University with a Bachelor's of Science in Criminal Justice and with an associate's degree in Aerospace Studies. He also earned a master's degree in Operations Management from the University of Arkansas. Major Green's awards include the Air Force Commendation Medal, the Air Force Achievement Medal, Air Force Good Conduct Medal, National Defense Service Medal, Armed Forces Expeditionary Medal, Southwest Asia Service Medal, Iraq Campaign Medal, Global War on Terrorism Expeditionary Medal, Armed Forces Service Medal, Humanitarian Service Medal, Small Arms Expert Marksman Ribbon, the U.S. Navy Expert Rifle Medal, NATO Medal, and Kuwait Libertation Medal. Major Green retired from the U.S. Air Force in 2013. Ladies and gentlemen, Major Kevin Green.
I have a little issue with my voice this morning, so if you can't hear me, let me know. My name is Kevin Green. I graduated here in 1989, and graduated in 1989. My family history is here in Bloomfield. My grandparents have been here all their lives, most of their lives. My parents, all their lives, my brother and sister. My kids all graduated from Bloomfield or soon will. My oldest son Joshua graduated in 2019. My daughter Emily in 2021, and Nathan will graduate this year in 2024. I spent 20 years in the Air Force and traveled all around the world. My grandpa, after he returned from World War II, was uptown here in Bloomfield with my great-aunt. She told me the story that after he came back from the war, they were uptown, and he looked around and he said that he'd always heard that Bloomfield was a one-horse town, but he never knew what that meant until he left. Not that that's a bad thing about Bloomfield. It's a very, very nice town, very, very good place to grow up and live and work. But what it means is that if you don't see anything outside Bloomfield, you may not know about other opportunities, things that you can do in your life. So I would encourage everyone, get out and travel if you get a chance to do all those things outside the city. If we get back up on the slide, please. Back, one more. Little family history there. On the far right is my brother Keith. He graduated here in 1991. He served as a security policeman for 4 years. At 3 of those were at F.E. Warren Air Force Base, where I later served. The second picture from the right beside him. Grandpa served in World War II in Europe in the 156th Infantry Division. And then on the far left is my grandpa's uncle, Ernest Daniel Green. Ernest Daniel fought in World War I in France and was killed in action in France. His name is etched on the war memorial at the courthouse. A lot of family history in the military, cousins, uncles, any number of people. All the way back, tracking back to the Revolutionary War, General Nathaniel Green, who was the Quartermaster General of the Continental Army. Okay, next slide. I went off to college after I graduated. I didn't go right into the Air Force. I went to Missouri Southern State College out in Joplin and started as a journalism major. I was going to be a photojournalist. When I was a kid, when I was in high school, I worked at the Bloomfield newspaper account. I was the darkroom technician. I developed all the photos and the advertisements and things for the weekly paper. When I got to college, and really quickly realized that journalism was not going to be what I wanted to do. I transferred to criminal justice major. I was going to be a policeman or highway patrol, something like that. But I was missing something. Something in my life just wasn't quite right. So I transferred back to Southeast Missouri State my sophomore year. Kept going to class, but something was still missing. And I didn't know what it was until one day it struck me that I just needed to do something bigger, something different. I happened upon the military recruitment office. I went in that day and talked to Army recruiter, the Marine recruiter, the Navy recruiter, and the Air Force recruiter. And the Air Force recruiter sold me on that service. So I enlisted, and I went off to college. I went off to basic training September 1991. That's my basic training class on the left up there. I'm 2 rows behind the guy in the faded BDU, so that was our training instructor, Sergeant Stewart. Behind me, the next row back, is my buddy, David Kalinsky. We met first day basic training, ended up doing the tech school together, stationed together. Our first assignment, stationed together, my third assignment, and we're both retired now from the Air Force. For basic training, most of the guys moved on to other bases. All their trainings were often new and mysterious places. I got on a bus and went across base there at Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio to the Security Police Training Center. And go through the courses there, learning about being a policeman. Base police, security, patrol, entry control, response, traffic stops, etc., etc. And then graduated from there, went from there to Air Base Defense School in Fort Dix, New Jersey. It was an Army base, and went through kind of a mini infantry course there. Before going on to my next slide, please. Before going on to my first duty assignment, Anderson Air Force Base, Guam. Guam is a little tiny island out in the middle of the Pacific between Hawaii and the Philippines. I've been around the ocean twice, I think, once on my senior trip and once we went to England to visit my grandma's family. So to go from Bloomfield to being able to walk out the door in my dorm room and see the ocean every day was a pretty cool thing. The mission there at Anderson, most bases have different kinds of aircraft assigned, specialty fighter aircraft, cargo aircraft. Some were intel bases. Guam didn't really have any of that. What Guam had was a big gas station. And we had every aircraft transiting the Pacific coming in there day in, day out. I learned the profiles of every aircraft I could spot in the sky and tell you exactly what they were before they even come in landing. From fighters to big cargo planes, C-130s, to tankers, everything. It was a wonderful assignment. It was a small island. 60 miles long, 20 miles wide. Wasn't a whole lot to do. So my flight chief was a master diving swimmer, and he took some of us out and got us certified over the water. So I spent a lot of time in the water, diving off the coast there in Guam. Never saw a shark, but lots of smaller fish, one octopus, and it was a way to keep us occupied and out of trouble for the most part. The year that I was there was a record typhoon season. We had 5 typhoons that year, including the Typhoon Omar, which had been the biggest one, I think in 1992. It was the biggest one in like 40 years. It knocked out power, destroyed like 2,000 homes. Knocked out power, water. We were without water for about 2 weeks, I think, without power for about a month. Living off generators. Picture of me up there, that's gate guard duties, entry control. The bases all have fences around them, and they control who can come and go. And that's me. The fancy get up there is called the elite gate guard uniform. That was something the Air Force used to do. They don't really do it anymore because now they're more anti-terrorism footing. A lot of great friends, a lot of good people that I've met, and friends that I still talk to today. In fact, I was going through all these pictures trying to find a view for this presentation, and happened upon some old pictures of one of my best friends there, Jason Harper. He's from Old Town in Ohio. He and I still talk on Facebook mostly these days, but I've seen him twice since then. Just a great sight. Lots to do, lots to keep us occupied. That shot of the ocean there at the coastline, that's the road going down to Suragi Beach. That's the beach there on the base, and the base has the nicest beach on the entire island. And that is just a view that you will never, ever forget if you see it in person. Next slide, please. So after 15 months there, I returned back to the United States. My wife and I got married. My wife graduated here in 1992. In 1993, we got married, and we headed off to the exact location of Vance Air Force Base in Enid, Oklahoma. Enid Vance was a pilot training base, so a lot of the young pilots would come there and learn how to fly the fighter jets and the cargo planes. It was a very small base, a very small unit. I think we had like 40 people in the entire unit. 71st Security Police Squadron, the best squadron I've ever been in my life. Just great people. We were small, we were tough. Did a lot of amazing things there. One year, I won an award on base, and one of the purposes of that was a ride in one of the T-38s there. The T-38 is a little jet that they used to train the fighter pilots. It's very fast, it's very agile. And if you've ever seen the first Top Gun movie, the T-38s were what the Russian pigs were in the final fight. I've got another picture after I got to flight with my squadron commander holding my puke bag. Because I threw up a few times. So I spent 5 years in total there. But next slide is my first deployment. Escon Village, Saudi Arabia. We deployed from Vance, it was 13 of us. We went to Escon Village, in Kingdom, Saudi Arabia. Escon was a different kind of base. It was a housing area for ambassador staff. And at the time, Saddam Hussein had moved his forces close to Kuwait again. This was shortly after the end of Desert Storm. Saddam had moved his forces close to Kuwait again. The U.S. government thought he was going to invade again, so they sent a bunch of security police up there to assist. We got there, and there were 2 Indians. So they took our little 13-man team, and they tagged us off to the Army, and we became a customs unit at Riyadh Air Force Base Riyadh Air Base in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And he processed cargo and all the extra equipment and things that were still there from Desert Storm. Just some memories from there. You see the little Toyota pickup, those are camels in the back of there, strapped down. I remember driving into the base and the bus when we first got there and seeing this truck drive by, a little Toyota like that. That's not my picture. I couldn't find my picture. With a camel strapped down in the back of the camel staring at us. I'm sure some of you guys have been to the desert and seen that. I was only there for about a month. It was a short assignment. They sent us back once they realized that Saddam Hussein was not going to invade. So they sent us back to Oklahoma. Next slide, please. And I turned right around about 2 months later and deployed to Guantanamo Bay Air Station in Cuba. That was a humanitarian mission. In the late 1992, I think, a bunch of Cuban immigrants left Cuba, trying to come to the United States. The United States had an agreement with the Cuban population at the time that if they got to U.S. soil, they were granted asylum and would be granted citizenship. But there were so many of them that we needed to process them. When the group of them left, Fidel Castro had emptied his prisons. He had put all these criminals in there with people. So when they started getting back to the coast of the United States, they were picked up, brought back, and set up a tent city for them to live in while we processed them, so we could figure out who was who. Send the people who wanted to come to the United States to the United States, the criminals back to Fidel. The picture on the right, that's my buddy Jason Larkin from Guam, and I just randomly ended up with the same deployment. The military you'll find is a small world. You'll run into the same people over and over again. You'll see the same friends over and over again, and you pick up right where you left off. Best friends again. That was the day we hit both that off, took a boat down into the bay, and did some fishing. The picture up there on the left, at the top, that's, can't really see behind it, but we lived in expandable morgues, basically. It's the only way they could provide any kind of air conditioning. So we brought in all these morgues, set them up, and we lived in the morgues, and we built that deck there. That's the USS Malibu. It was a popular one. Anytime you go outside, there would be random people showing up hanging out on our deck, including the Navy commander. He was always there with us. When we left, we actually picked that thing up and moved it across base because they wanted to keep it. I was there for 3 months, and then we returned to the United States. And in 1996, deployed again, this time to Italy, San Vito Air Base. San Vito was a special ops base. We were running special ops missions from each of the services in and out of Bosnia, Kosovo. But it was Italy. It was great. San Vito is a little base down in the southern tip of Italy. Got to do some traveling while we were there, went to Rome once, Naples. Saw all the sites, everything I could see, we saw. It wasn't a typical deployment that you think of for deployments, but it was a good one. That aircraft at the bottom there, that's the MH-53J payload special ops helicopter. I was one of the few security policemen in the Air Force that was 50 cal qualified. So 50 cal machine gun. So we got a check ride on these helicopters just as a backup in case you were that thing's pretty agile. It's better than any roller coaster I've ever ridden. It's pretty cool. Next slide, please. So I returned to Vance. Was there for about another year, and then we got an assignment to Shanghai, a few Warren Air Force Base. Warren is a missile base, nuclear missiles. You can see the top picture on the right there. The middle is the Minuteman missile. It carries 3 independently targetable warheads. The big one on the left is the Peacekeeper. It carries 10 warheads. And we had 4 squadrons, 3 for the Minuteman and 1 for the Peacekeeper. I was in the 319th Missile Squadron, security police, we did nuclear security. And we'd go out into the field. The missiles weren't on the base, they were scattered throughout western Nebraska, southern Wyoming, Colorado. But we would go out and we'd live out near the facility, or out near the missiles for 4 days, 3 or 4 days on end. And then return home and go back for a few days. I love Cheyenne. Cheyenne is a beautiful, beautiful city. Got a kind of an old west feel to it. Population of the city there is only about 50,000 people every year when the frontier days. Rodeo comes around, the town swells to about 300,000 people. It's gorgeous. Mountains. Our oldest son Josh was born here. We lived on base, and we look out his back window of his bedroom and we see they're called the Beaver Mountains, which is the foothills of the Rockies. We had antelope in the backyard, like you have deer in the yard here. All kinds of animals. Every once in a while, we get an elk or moose come down to the base. There was a railroad track right through the middle of the base, so there was no things on either end. That's me standing at the Oregon Trail. You can see the grooves carved into the ground there where the wagon wheels traverse back and forth as the settlers made their way west. We were there for 2 years. I kind of felt like I was getting to a point where I was missing something. Not quite sure what it was, but I knew I didn't want to do that for the rest of my life. The great people, that bunch up there on the left, one of the best groups I've ever worked with, very professional, took our jobs very seriously, but I knew I couldn't do that for the rest of my career. So I applied for reserve officer training. I didn't have my bachelor's degree yet. I had promised my grandpa when I left college that I would finish it. It's important to him. But I hadn't quite gotten around to doing that. So to get commissioned, I would have to leave the Air Force, go back to school, and then get my bachelor's degree, and I could come back in as an officer. So I applied for that, and was accepted. Next slide, please. And in August of 2000, I left the Air Force. We moved back here to Mexico, a new house over there. And I went to school at Southeast Missouri State, and we learned customs and currencies, and we learned leadership skills and physical training. I went back through basic training again at 30 years old. And then finally, after 2 years, about a year and a half later, a little over a year later, I was sitting in class one morning. We just started the class. This was September 11, 2001. We just started the class, and our secretary came in and spoke to our instructor, Major Gary, and said that an airplane had just hit the World Trade Center. Well, we went on with class. Didn't think a whole lot about it. Then a few minutes later, he came in and said that a second aircraft had hit another town. Obviously, he knew something's up down. So we turned on the television, watching, furious at what was happening. But we had to go on to class. I went over to my next class, criminal justice class, and I'm standing in the hallway. It was in uniform that day, my Air Force blues. Standing in the hallway and watching as the first tower fell. And I knew that the Air Force that I was going back into was not the same one that I left. It's something whole different ballgame. It became very aware as I was standing there in the hallway, everybody staring at me, all the other students. I think that I was stuck up there at Cape all day. I couldn't come home because I had a night class in statistics. I'm not a statistics guy, so I couldn't skip the class. I was driving around Cape up there, and between classes. And just over the hill from where Toys R Us used to be, there was some guy out there. He had just the biggest flag. I mean, that thing came out in my mind. It was as big as Watcher Moreland's flag down there in Dexter. He was standing out there waving at it. And I think I probably worked out a bit then. But I went on through classes. I got commissioned as a second lieutenant. I went back into the Air Force in May 2002. Next slide, please. Langley Air Force Base, Virginia. Home of the first fighter. F-15s, F-22s, and soon to be every other kind of aircraft because we deployed OIF or rapid freedom out there. So the Air Force sent all of their cargo, all of their personnel that had to deploy through Langley. Hood Base, that's my bunch down there, deployment team, and myself. Those airplanes up there, the one on the bottom, that's the F-15 fighter aircraft. So several decades old, but still top-notch aircraft. The one above it, that's the new stealth F-22, or it was the new at it's a couple decades old now. Next slide, please. Oh, wow. My daughter was born there. My only kid to be born on an Air Force base. She was born in the hospital. I was there for 3 years, and then we went on to Little Rock Air Force Base. My job there, this base had a cargo aircraft, so we deployed a lot of cargo, we deployed a lot of personnel all around the country, all around the world. And my job there was installation deployment officer. The Army guys would probably call it the mobility officer, the guy that's in charge of all the deployments, running the whole thing. 3 years there, Nathan was born there. I deployed once out of there, next slide please, in 2007. Sadr Air Base, Iraq, also known as Baghdad International Airport. That's me there on the right. That's me there in the middle at the off-off house, right there on the base. And then there's an Army badge out there. Obviously, we were wartime then. Cargo aircraft coming in, personnel coming in, process all of those. Process the person who will back out. 6 months, I think, 5 months, and rotated back out there. Next slide, please. And we went on to Andrews Air Force Base in Maryland. Now, this was a little different assignment because I was assigned to the Air National Guard Readiness Center. As an active duty guy, assigned to the Guard. I didn't understand why at first, but when I got there, I was told that about 40% of the people there at the Readiness Center were active duty. They helped keep the tensions down between all the Guard units. Andrews is the home of Air Force One. So at the time, President Bush and then later President Obama, it was not uncommon to see them around the base. We were right outside of Washington, D.C. You hear a lot about crime and homelessness and things in D.C. A lot of that's true. There's a lot of good things to be seen there, though. We've been to the White House twice. That's us on the lawn there for Easter Sunday. Kids took part in the White House Easter egg roll. Got to tour inside the White House once. All kinds of museums, the National History Museums. There's so much to do in the DC area. I really enjoyed that assignment. Location. But I deployed again, back to Saudi Arabia, back to the same base I was at the first time. This time it was a little different. I wasn't a security policeman anymore. Now I was a logistics officer, and I was the commander of the logistics flight. I had about 12 people. We handled supply, transportation, deployment needs, and for the entire base. The pictures on the left there is a sandstorm, and some of you may have seen this on the news years ago. Massive sandstorm rolling through town. And the picture there on the right, I got out in it. And that picture turned out pretty good. I was there 7 months. We had a lot of distinguished visitors. We just built a new vehicle facility. We handle a lot of payments on the security police vehicles. They were there to protect still the ambassadors. That guy in the middle there in blue that's not dressed like everybody else is the Chief of Staff of the Air Force, General Norman Schwartz. I got to take him on a tour of our facility. Returned back to Andrews, next slide please. And then deployed again about a year later, deployed to Ramstein Air Base in Germany. This was a little different because I wanted to be gone for about 6 months, but Jennifer and the kids caught hot and they were able to come with me. And they were there for about a month, 2. And about every weekend we would hop in the car and take off and go see different things. Ramstein was a headquarters assignment. A lot of interaction with other countries. We were kids there. That's on the right, Neuschwanstein Castle. The Eiffel Tower is not in Germany, it's in France. But we took a tour over France and saw that. It's the world's largest cuckoo clock up there. The kids stand in front of it, and that when we stand in the hole, that's the remains of a foxhole from World War II in Passau. From there, next slide please. While still in Germany, my commander asked me to lead a site survey team into Estonia. We would go into these different airfields around Europe there and do what's called a site survey. We'd go in and find out what it would take to set up an Air Force base very quickly there. So Estonia, 2 different locations. We went to Tallinn International Airport and conducted our site survey there. And then we went to Mari Air Base, which was the Estonians' only Air Force base at the time. It was the last active duty Soviet airfield back when the USSR was the whole thing. That tail fin that aircraft got on the bottom is the little cemetery outside of Mari, where they would bury the remains of Soviet pilots who crashed, and then take parts of their aircraft and use them as part of their memorial stones. Estonia's a beautiful country. A lot of good people there. And I was there 2 weeks for those 2 assignments. Then they asked me to come back about a month later to do a follow-up inspection on some things. So I went back a second time. Great assignment. One of those times when you really get to go out into places that most people have never seen and do some things. Next slide, please. And when I got back, I got tasked for an exercise in Israel. Hands down, coolest place I've ever been. We like to think that history in America here is all, really we're just young bucks on the world stage. That is history right there. On the right there, the Wailing Wall. The picture of me on the bottom right, that's me standing on Mount Olive, that's Jerusalem behind me. The picture on the left there is Caesarea. That's an old aqueduct that carried water from the mountains. And then the top picture, a little jealous. My buddy, I was in a different hotel than my buddy Frank. That's a shot from his hotel room. Overlooking the ocean there. But we were there for 2 weeks for an assignment, for an exercise with the Israeli Air Force. Wonderful people. It tears me up seeing the things that are going on over there right now. And I hope they can wrap it up quickly before it spreads. Next slide, please. So after that, I turned back to Andrews. We were there for a short time and got assignment to Bloomfield Air Base. This was shortly after the earthquake, the Fukushima nuclear reactor explosion, or mishap, and got an assignment to Dakota. Called Jennifer and said, "We're going to Japan." Jennifer called her mom, Susan, turn. But we did go. Dakota Air Base was assigned to the 5th Air Force headquarters unit. We were liaisons to the Japanese Air Force. Great assignment. We got to work with the Japanese people very closely the entire time I was there. Didn't learn a lot of Japanese, but we worked daily with the Japanese Air Self-Defense Force, the Japanese, the Kokuchitai. And that top one that's me in a helicopter over Tokyo. 30 million people in about a 13 square mile area. You couldn't travel by road very quickly anywhere, so if we had meetings that we would do downtown, it was 2 hours in my car or 15 minutes in a helicopter. So we would sleep in the helicopter. Cherry blossom trees everywhere. Cherry blossom trees is the most gorgeous tree on the planet. I love them. One of these days I'm going to plant some around our house in town. Haven't got there yet. The bottom picture on the left, a trip we took with the kids up to Nagano. There's an onsen out in the mountains there. It's a warm water pool, and these monkeys would come down out of the mountains and bathe in the pools to warm up, keep warm. That was the coolest trip. It was something else. The aircraft up there, that's the Japanese version of our F-16. They call it the F-2, I think. Our job was to help them with maintenance and supplies to keep their air force running. The picture in the middle, on the top there, that's at the time Vice President Biden, not President Biden, myself, my buddy Jay Marquez, and we got to meet him. He came through and did a speech on this. Next slide, please. And then the very last thing I did, I still had to go to, we took Japanese Air Force to a large exercise back in Guam, back where I first started. And I think 1,200 military, however many aircraft. Got aircraft from the Japanese Air Force, the Australian Air Force, the U.S. Navy, the U.S. Air Force, all taking place. That tank up there, the Japanese held Guam during World War II. The Americans had to retake it, but there's all kinds of Japanese vehicles and things like that off in the jungle still. It's really cool. You get out and explore where you're not supposed to go and find that stuff. Then I returned to Guam. Next slide, please. And applied for retirement. 20 years, 2 months, 13 days, 7 assignments. 6 deployments, 3 kids, 1 wife, and it was time to go. I was tired. I was done. I think that's my last slide, but I'll just take a couple minutes to say a few other things. Nothing against the other services here. Air Force is the best. We have a heavy Army presence in this area, and I think sometimes maybe some of the younger folks think that the Army is the only service out there. It's not true. The Air Force is out there. Echo something I heard Stan Wilson say a few years ago. The Air Force is a different quality of life. It can give you opportunities that you wouldn't have otherwise. And it's a wonderful service. And I recommend any of you, if you're thinking about going to the military or high schoolers, check out the Air Force. Check out all the services. See what fits you best. But the Air Force is a different quality of life. So think about the Air Force. I think that's all I got. So thank you very much.
Major Dean, on behalf of our school community, we would like to thank you for your service to our country as well as being part of our ceremony today. Let's give him one more round of applause. Before our band performs, I would like to take a second to recognize our current student who has enlisted to serve our country. Mr. James Culberson has enlisted in the United States Marines. Let's give him a round. We're proud of you for making that commitment, James, and we know that you will be a great representative of our country and community. And we look forward to having you back as a guest speaker for future Veterans Day ceremonies. At this time, our high school band, under the direction of Mrs. Amber Dewey, will perform Battle Hymn of the Republic, arranged by J. O'Cook. Our band will now play Salute to America's Finest. We would like to recognize and honor our service members and veterans in attendance today. We would like to ask the service members and veterans who are here to stand if you are able when you hear your branch's song and remain standing until the end of the song. Once again, thank you for answering the call to duty and for making our armed forces the most respected in the world. today as a school district that we are allowed to honor and pay gratitude to those who have served our country, fighting the ultimate sacrifice so that our nation can live in freedom. We also thank you for joining us today in today's ceremony. To conclude our ceremony today, if everyone would please rise, taps will now be played by the Stoddard County Honor. That will conclude our ceremony. Thank you all again for coming out and enjoy this beautiful day. We will dismiss with elementary first. Middle school and high school, just wait where you are at. Middle school, you will be dismissed next. Make sure you wait for your teachers. Do not just get up and start going. High school teachers, if you want to start heading back to class so we have supervision, and I do see the kids, why don't you go ahead and do that now? No, just haven't said it. High school, it is third hour. Go to your third hour class. Do not be skipping class. Do not stop at the bathroom on the way. Go to class.